You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 19th of November. Jaishankar meets Putin, launches 2 Indian consulates in Russia. India saved my mother's life. Sheikh Hasina's son rejects legitimacy of her extradition. And after years of hardships, Sri Lankan farmers turn to chemical fertilizers. And now for all the details. Russia's President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday met India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar for talks in Moscow. In a post on X, Jaishankar said he conveyed greetings of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and apprised him of preparations underway for the upcoming annual India-Russia summit. They also discussed regional and global developments, he added. The Russian president is expected to visit India around December 5 to hold 23rd annual summit talks with PM Modi. The meeting came after Jaishankar earlier in the day attended the SCO Council of Heads of meeting in Moscow. On Monday, Jaishankar also met his Russian counterpart to discuss aspects of the bilateral and international agenda with focus on preparations for the annual India-Russia summit, which will take place on the 25th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration on Strategic Partnership between the two nations. In the latest on Wednesday, Jaishankar attended the inauguration of Consulates General of India in Yekaterinburg and Kazan in Russia.
This is an important day for us when we are adding 2 more consulates, consulate generals in this country. And I want to say that over the last few months, consistent work has been underway to establish these consulates, as you heard from the ambassador, at the earliest possible time.
And Sajeev Wazir Joy, son of Bangladesh's ousted PM Sheikh Hasina, in an interview with ANI criticized Dhaka's extradition request and dismissed the legal proceedings against his mother, whilst cautioning India of a growing terrorism threat from across the border. He expressed profound gratitude to India's PM Modi for granting his mother asylum. He further claimed that Lashkar-e-Taiba is now operating freely in Bangladesh, alleging links between its local branch and recent terror attacks in Delhi. Sajeev Wazir also questioned the legitimacy of Mohammad Yunus-led interim government in which Dhaka, which has been holding on to power without elections and zero popular support. His remarks come after International Crimes Tribunal of Bangladesh convicted Hasina of crimes against humanity and sentenced her to death linked to the July-August 2024 uprising.
India has always been a good friend, and in the crisis, India has essentially saved my mother's life. If she hadn't left Bangladesh, the militants, they had planned on killing her. If Mohammad Yunus was popular, then why would he not just have held an election, won election, and then run the country with legitimacy? He has held on to power for a year and a half without holding an election, because he has absolutely zero popular support. The political party that the students formed, the NCP, in all the polling run in Bangladesh to date, within this government's term, they're polling at simply 2%. They've never gone above 2% popularity.
And Sohail Afridi, the Chief Minister of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, has accused Pakistan's federal power structure of engineering fake terrorist attacks in the province to fuel instability and derail peace efforts. Local media reports said Afridi alleged that influential groups in Islamabad benefit from continued unrest and have obstructed genuine dialogue for decades. The PTI leader cited the recent disappearance of Pashtun Tahaffuz movement activists after a provincial peace jirga, calling it a deliberate attempt to sabotage reconciliation with Afghanistan. He also criticized the Pakistani military, accusing it of targeting civilians under the pretext of counter-terror operations. Referring to a recent airstrike in Tira Valley where dozens of civilians were reportedly killed, he labeled such actions as war crimes. Afridi said people in KP are exhausted by self-created terrorism and will oppose any attempt to disrupt peace. His remarks come amid rising violence in KP and former FATA regions, which remain troubled by militancy, border tensions, and clashes between Pakistani forces and Afghan Taliban fighters in areas like Kurram district. And 3 years after Sri Lanka's sudden shift to fully organic agriculture triggered a devastating collapse in harvests and deepened a national economic crisis, farmers are once again turning to chemical fertilizers and rebuilding their livelihoods. We have a report.
In the paddy fields of eastern Sri Lanka, rice farmers watch as a tractor cuts through the soil, preparing for the next cultivation cycle. For them and thousands of other farmers, the return of chemical fertilizers has brought some relief. The recovery, however, remains uneven. Rice imports fell to 29,600 tons in 2023 after better harvests, but surged again this year, reaching 167,000 tons in the first 10 months of 2025 as bad weather damaged yields.
ආණ්ඩුවෙන් රසායනික බෙහෙත් පොහොර නැවත ගොවියට ලබලා දුන්නා. ලබලා දුන්නාට පස්සේ දැන් අර තිබුණ ප්‍රමාණයට වැඩිය නමුත් ගොවියගේ අර ඊට ඉස්සෙල්ලා තිබුණ ආදායම ඒ මට්ටමට ගොවියට ගේන්න හැකි වුණා.
Despite the challenges, farmers are pushing forward. The National Fertilizer Secretariat expects the rice cultivation area to expand to 815,000 hectares this season. The production is forecast to reach 2.8 million metric tons, slightly above last year's output but still short of the 3 million tons Sri Lanka consumes annually.
We had a sharp drop of 34%. We are still struggling to recover. That's the most important point, because we did not apply the nutrients which is required by the crop to produce food for us.
The trouble began in April 2021, when ex-President Gotabaya Rajapaksa imposed a nationwide ban on chemical fertilizers, aiming to make Sri Lanka the world's first fully organic farming nation. The policy backfired, ending up slashing rice harvests. The island nation was forced to import over 783,000 metric tons of rice, mostly from neighboring India. The crash in agricultural output drained Sri Lanka's foreign reserves, soared food inflation, and contributed to mass protests that forced Rajapaksa from office in July 2022.
And former Nepal PM KP Sharma Oli's CPN-UML party has decided to move the Supreme Court against the dissolution of House of Representatives. President Ramachandra Paudel dissolved the House on September 12 on the recommendation of interim PM Sushila Karki, appointed amid the Gen Z uprising that triggered violent nationwide protests, claiming at least 78 lives. The Karki administration now has the mandate to conduct snap polls on March 5. A UML parliamentary party meeting on Tuesday concluded that restoring the parliament is the only democratic option and has authorized Mahesh Bartola and Sunita Baral to file the writ. The party claims Karki's appointment violated constitutional provisions barring former chief justices from holding executive posts, and that the subsequent dissolution was unconstitutional. The UML has appealed to all parties and civil society to oppose the dissolution. Chairman KP Sharma Oli said the party will also launch peaceful protests, while leaders reiterated that only reinstatement can ensure constitutional governance. Meanwhile, Nepal's Pashupatinath temple glowed with oil lamps as devotees marked Bal Chaturdashi on Tuesday, staying awake all night in prayer and remembrance of departed souls. Take a look.
Nepal's Pashupatinath temple lit up with lamps as Hindu devotees thronged the holy place of worship to celebrate Bal Chaturdashi, praying for salvation of departed souls on Tuesday. The devotees stay awake throughout the night, taking care of the lamps on the eve of Bal Chaturdashi. Those observing this ritual maintain strict fasting, with only one meal that day. They take a holy bath the next morning and start their journey around the Pashupatinath temple premises, spreading 7 kinds of grains along the way.
आज बाल चतुर्दशी भोलि सजमी छ नि आज बत्ती बाल्ने पशुपति आको एक्लै आइरहेछु भित्र बत्ती बाल्ने गरेको थियो पोहोर परार अहिले त भित्र कति राम्रो बत्ती बाल्नेलाई नि सजिलो राम्रो सजिलोसित भित्र बत्ती झुल्काइदिएर आको कृष्ण मन्दिरको ठाउँमा बत्ती बालेर आएँ राम्रो रहेछ.
A popular legend explains the festival's name, where a trader named Baal Nanda unknowingly consumed a piece of human brain from a cremation pyre while eating. This incident gave him a frightening craving for human flesh, turning him into a demon-like figure called Balasur, feared by people around Pashupathy. To save the locals, Bal's childhood friend Brisha Simha agreed to help. He drugged Bal's meal and allowed the villagers to kill him.
दसैँ सदमी छर्ने परम्पराको थिति मातापिताका नाममा मन्दिरमा आएर छडेर अनि जानी रमाइलो गरेर केही रमाइलो आफ्नो आँखाका देखाले हेरौँ भनेर अनि भगवानको नाममा दर्शन गरौँ भनेर आएको हजुर.
Though the act protected the community, Brisha was consumed by guilt. Seeking repentance, he turned to Lord Pashupatinath, who instructed him to light a lamp for Bal, chant prayers through the night, and the next morning scatter 7 types of grains in the forest in his friend's memory.
That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.